Welcome to the Arrington Gavin Show. Real talk, big opinions, and fearless conversations. From the front lines of politics to the latest in pop culture. From breaking sports headlines to the stories that move the world. Nothing's off limits, and nobody's holding back. Arrington Gavin is here to break it down, build it up, and keep it all the way real. So turn it up, lean in, and let's get into it. This is the Arrington Gavin Show.
Your go-to spot for sharp insights, bold opinions, and unfiltered takes on the biggest stories of the day, whether it's politics, sports, pop culture, or the latest buzz. Look, we're diving deep and keeping it real, so please do me a favor, kick back, stay informed, and get ready to join the conversation. So thrilled, as always, to be joining you on this wonderful evening. Thank you so much, my friends, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to and chime in what we got going on today's show. Look, we got a lot to tap in to on today's program. Looks like a future fight between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul has been canceled. I wouldn't say highly anticipated fight, because the fight never made sense to begin with. None of Jake Paul's fights, in my opinion, makes any sense whatsoever. This is a guy who continues to fight washed up former mixed martial artists who hasn't had a boxing match in their career in forever. He brings 60-year-olds out of retirement to fight a pay-per-view extravaganza that turns to crap, and then now he's fighting guys that are literally like three weight classes under him. Interesting. So that fight was canceled. We'll talk a little bit about that. Also want to discuss really Andrew Cuomo. I want to discuss Andrew Cuomo because what we are witnessing, and this episode that you are tuning into right now is being recorded. It's actually being recorded the evening before election, right? Even before election. So again, in real time, we will have the results, how his election for New York City mayor will turn out. Again, Andrew Cuomo, former governor of the state of New York, who resigned due to some allegations, sexual misconduct allegations, and he was absent from politics for a period. Returned, came back. He was kind of slowly but surely appearing back in the world of politics. Through radio, through podcasting. Now he said, "Okay, this is the time to make my political comeback." So he decides to run for mayor of New York City. Now, the role for the New York City mayor is quite a large role. It's not like your common city mayors, probably in your selected cities, just like how is not the same for their mayor like it is in my home city of Chesapeake, Virginia. New York City, the mayor of New York City looks over 5 boroughs, okay? 5 boroughs that are each of them massive, right? New York City is a very money-driven city. Now, here in my hometown of Chesapeake, we have 7 cities in what they call Hampton Roads. Now, if all of them was together and it was just called Hampton Roads, and you had one mayor, then that mayor will have quite power, but he does not. So anyway, here comes Andrew Cuomo thinking he has this in the bag. He's running against a fan favorite in the progressive side of the Democratic Party, Zohran Mamdani, who's a General Assembly member, young. I would consider him a thriving figure in the world of politics, in the Democratic Party, that is. But it's been so interesting because the establishment, the old school Dems, did not see eye to eye with this guy. Still does not see eye to eye. So again, in real time, as you tune to this is a recorded show, which we normally do stuff in real time. but this is a recorded program, which is before the election, so we wouldn't really know the outcome yet about between the two. The reason why I'm bringing Andrew Cuomo up is because I look at this as a fall in his political career. Someone who has literally been at the top of his game for so long, and this race has ruined his political career, in my opinion. So we'll talk about why I think that. Also, on the entertainment side, Juwanna Mann is apparently in the works of a sequel. The star of Juwanna Mann, Miguel Nunez Jr., who we all know and love from the hit movie Juwanna Mann, the movie where a then NBA star, right, who was kind of a head case, right? He was it was so bad he got a lifetime suspension from the professional league, the NBA, as it was in his in the movie. And then what he does, he decides to he decides to disguise himself as a woman to compete in the women's league and to make a name for himself. Because why? He was losing everything. He thought he was on top of the world, and he ended up losing everything. And if he wasn't going to play anymore, he had to find a solution to make him some money. So boom, moves on to create the Juwanna Mann figure, and that movie was a hit. Still to this day, I can watch that times and times again, and it gets funnier and funnier every time. But reporters ran into Miguel Nunez, and he said, "Hey, there's a sequel in the works." So we'll talk about that too later on in the show. And also, I want to talk about SNAP benefits, food stamps, very similar. It's the same exact thing. As you know, funding has been cut for those due to the government shutdown, and hopefully by then they will have a Congress or Washington can figure out how to stop this mess, because this is to my knowledge, the longest government shutdown ever. And so there has been states, I believe Virginia, that really the DMV, Virginia, DC, Maryland, um, is signing executive orders to fund SNAP. Now, the hard part is states probably won't have enough funds to fund SNAP for their constituents. We'll talk about that too later on in the program. But as always, my friends, if you happen to be tuning in right now, you are listening to the Arrington Gavin Show. I'm your host, your friend Arrington Gavin, coming in on this wonderful evening. For those who are watching us on YouTube, do me a favor, like, subscribe, share with a friend, share with family. I truly appreciate if you can keep that, give us a thumbs up. It helps with our algorithm. We want to keep the momentum going on our channel. We are a growing channel, growing independent channel, and so we want to keep we want to stay engaged with you all and keep this momentum going. Also, if you happen to be watching us on the screen right now, do me a favor, check out our website, the Arrington www.theagshow.com. You can stay afloat on recent episodes, like the current it keeps you up to speed on our latest episodes, as well as if you want to get in contact with me, you can do so. In addition to that, gives you a direct direct access to our social media, to our Instagram page. So be sure to check that out. Provided a QR code there in the top corner. But in addition to watching us on YouTube, you can also check out past episodes of the Arrington Gavin Show on Goatverse TV. That's right, Goatverse TV. Ways you can tune into that is by simply downloading the app. It's free. Goatverse TV on the App Store, Google Play Store, Roku, as well as Amazon Fire TV. And if you want to listen to us on the go, you can do that by simply typing in the Arrington Gavin Show. We're available on all podcast platforms. And then lastly, you can also listen to us on the radio airwaves. We're in about 3 markets currently. We are growing. First, one of those markets is our family out in the New Orleans area. WBOK 12:30 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about. You can tune into the Arrington Gavin Show weeknights at 7 p.m. Central Time. Again, that's only on WBOK 12:30 a.m. Then we're going to head over to Houston to Afro Vibes Radio. You can tune to the Arrington Gavin Show Saturdays at noon, 12 p.m. Central Time. And that's, again, on Afro Vibes Radio based out of Houston. Then we're going to head over to the metro Atlanta area to WDJY 99.1 FM Straight Talk. You can tune into the Arrington Gavin Show weeknights at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that is WDJY 99.1 FM Straight Talk. All right, my friends, look, what we're going to do before we head to a commercial break, want to shout out this Black Excellence Report. I haven't done that in a while. Black Excellence Report. So I want to give a moment to not just congratulate, but to share an amazing story to the listeners, because this is something that is a common thing in our justice system, where there are innocent individuals being sentenced to these long sentences, and it's extremely sad and great. I'm grateful for folks like attorney Benjamin Crump, who always keeps us up to speed on these cases through his social media. So I saw this and I followed. I've checked up the story, looked up the story, and I wanted to share this. This gentleman's name is Ricky Fuquan McGee. He recently was freed after serving 28 years.
I'm happy for my nieces that never see me on the street. My mother, who's been 28 years picking up that phone after every second ring. Like my queen, who's out in the rain with my poster board, making sure I'm not invisible. As I came out, there's someone coming in. You know what I mean? This is systemic. This isn't an individual thing. We're going to get more people out in a variety of different ways, because it's not always wrongful conviction, right? This commutation process is flawed.
We're just going to take one day at a time. Let him get used to his surroundings. Just one day at a time.
I mean, wow. Imagine. Can you? I really can't imagine it. Let's just be honest. I can't imagine. I'm grateful I've never been arrested, never been in cuffs. All right. I've gotten speeding tickets. I've probably gotten tickets of, making a right turn on a red light by not going to complete stop. I'll get the kind of, I'll say the common things, right? 28 years this man was in jail. 28 years. This gentleman has always maintained his innocence since 1997. You hear me? 1997. And he's absolutely right. He's not the only one. This is a common thing. This is a flawed common issue that happens in the justice system. And all I have to say is the justice system has got to do better. Wonderful thing is this man coming out as a free man, embracing his family. I hope the state, the city, everybody bless him with a big reward, because they took decades of this man's life away off of wrongful convictions, and something that is, again, a common thing in our world, and we have to do better. Friends, look, we're going to head to a commercial break. You are listening to the Arrington Gavin Show. Do not go anywhere, and please do not change that dial. We'll be right back after these commercial breaks.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to
And we still in traffic.
I don't look familiar, do I? Not in this seat.
Hey, what's that you listening to?
Here to host today.
Hey, turn it up. Yeah, this that new Goldverse app. I got you.
So y'all want to know where the goats are? They're off on the sidelines.
Looking for fresh, relevant content wherever you go? What was the name of that he said?
Introducing GOATverse TV.
GOATverse, that's what it's called.
The free streaming app that brings you the best podcasts, current events, and thought-provoking opinions all in one place. Download it now from the Apple Store or Play Store. In GOATs, we trust.
Become a man of distinction with Rugged Evolution Beard Care. Order our scented beard oils and beard balms to help you maintain and grow the perfect beard. Order today. Try our men's care products like the full body exfoliating cleansing bars, body wash, smooth stash, and more. Log on to our website or download our app to place your orders. Rugged Evolution Beard Care. We're your luxury but affordable men's care line. And remember,
Rugged is the new smooth.
Every man has a story to tell. Your ambitions, your achievements, your legacy. Your suit should reflect that story, crafted precisely, designed for impact, and tailored exclusively for you. We work with only the finest fabrics, luxurious wools, silk, linen, and blends from world-renowned mills in Italy, the UK, and India. These fabrics are the foundation of custom suits that exude elegance and stand the test of time. But a suit isn't just about fabric, it's about fit, and it's about confidence, and it all starts with you. When you work with me, you'll receive a personalized consultation, whether in person or over Zoom. Together, we'll explore your vision and discuss your needs. And we're gonna bring your ideas to life. My journey as a designer includes apprenticing under New York-based designer Clavon Leonard, showcasing collections at New York Fashion Week, Algeria Fashion Week, and the prestigious Baltimore Met Gala. That experience is what we bring to every suit we create, from weddings to corporate events and everything in between. We specialize in crafting one-of-a-kind suits for life's most significant moments. Dapper Luke has been recognized as one of Baltimore's best menswear in 2023, and I was honored to be one of the 10 designers selected for the prestigious Baltimore Met Gala. With over 900 satisfied clients, we proudly serve Virginia Beach and Baltimore, bringing world-class designs to these incredible communities. We don't just make suits, we craft confidence. Your suit will fit your body, your style, and it will tell your story. Book your free online personal consultation today. Visit www.dapperluke.com.
All right, my friends, welcome back to the Arrington Gavin Show. Let's get it going with our first story here. I want to talk about, as I mentioned earlier, Andrew Cuomo. So he was in an interview, or being interviewed on a very popular hip hop bass radio show, Hot 97. Well, yes, Hot 97. Let me go ahead and see if I can find that clip for you all. Popular radio personality based out of New York. Let's see, what's his name? Ebro Darden. That's right, Ebro Darden, Laura Stiles, and Peter Rosenberg. Was popular voices on Hot 97, a legendary New York City radio station, and ended up leaving the interview abruptly. Why, you ask? Well, let me play this soundbite real quick. And again, I talk about the fall of Andrew Cuomo, a gentleman who at one point was one of the top leaders in the Democratic Party on a national level. Listen to this.
He was just on 60 Minutes, Cuomo, saying that you're his guy.
No.
Trump said you're his candidate. If he had to pick a bad Democrat or what did he say? Or a communist. Or a communist, he's picking you.
Hello?
I think that they cut him off. I think he had to rap.
You just get, oh. I really wanted to hear that answer. That's what I was going to ask you.
Ebro just got spicy.
Oh.
I heard a click before the boop.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, well, boy, was.
I mean, first of all, I say it like this. As a elected official I'm not saying I am, but I'm just saying if you are an elected official, all elected officials have to be aware of being pressed. At they get pressed 24/7 and should be pressed, especially when there's issues that are occurring. That hey, we want answers. We want answers. Politicians that run from answering your questions, to me, shouldn't even be in office to begin with. Okay, they shouldn't be in office to begin with. If you at least not even attempt to answer the questions, or push back if someone makes an accusation like Ebro said, you're Trump's guy. You're Trump's guy. And that's true. He is Trump's guy. Donald Trump would prefer to see Andrew Cuomo than support the Republican that is in this race, and that is talk radio host and founder of the Guardian Angels, Curtis Lewa. See, here's the thing. Trump can always, and it's so interesting because Trump will always be team red in this current state, right? We all know back in the day, Trump was he was a Democrat, still was a, well, I can't say the word, but Trump has never changed his style of personality. He's just changed, from a D to an R, but he was still the same old interesting individual. I'm trying to watch my tongue very much so. I'm trying to watch my tongue, y'all. So the fact that out of all these Republicans, Trump is wanting to see a Democrat win? Why is that? Because see, at one point, him and Andrew Cuomo was back and forth when Andrew Cuomo was governor of New York. And during the pandemic, they were back and forth. Why the change of heart? Why the change of heart? Why not support a gentleman who is the nominee and the candidate that Republicans voted him to be? Why not support him? But instead, he wants to support Andrew Cuomo. Interesting, very interesting. And yes, to Ebro's point, Trump has said, "Look, we want to see Andrew Cuomo win. We want to see Andrew Cuomo win." Now, just to give you a backstory on Andrew Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo was still a Democrat, even though he's running as an independent. He ran in the Democratic primary, lost in the Democratic Party. Now he's running as in the independent party, but he's still a Democrat. He's still a registered Democrat. He is the son of former Governor Mario Cuomo. He served as the 56th governor from 2011 until his resignation in 2021. Before all of that, he served as the assistant of housing and urban development for community planning and development in the Clinton administration. He then went on to be the 11th United States Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Again, all in the Clinton administration. This is a long time Democrat we're talking here. This is a long time coming from a legacy, right? Coming from a legacy family. He is the brother of journalist Chris Cuomo, right? So a lot of history in that name, Cuomo. Now, initially I was gonna title the segment as just both Cuomo's kind of falling, but I'm not gonna do that because Chris Cuomo has continued growing his platform, right? Remember, he was let go of CNN because he was helping out his brother during these cases, which, hey, what brother wouldn't? I would have done the same exact thing. So to me, Cuomo shouldn't have been at fault for doing that. But hey, higher uppers at CNN didn't like that, let him go. He was then off from TV for about, I don't know, 2 years, maybe almost 2 years. And then he came out the woodworks with an interview on News Nation. And from there, he started his podcast, the Chris Cuomo Project, that encourages, and I actually have merch from, because I support the podcast. I tuned into it. I was, I enjoy Chris Cuomo's take on things in politics and stuff. So yeah, I'm a support. And so Chris Cuomo has this platform, the Cuomo Project. Now he has a show. He really is the lead. I would consider him the team captain of News Nation. He is, he has a prime time slot. He's on there twice, twice in one day. He airs at 8, then it plays again, I believe, at 11. So he has a good little operation, going there. Now, going back to his brother is the one that is suffering, in my opinion. When did you ever seen a Cuomo like run away from run away from a conversation? Oh, he Ebro pressed him, and Cuomo, yeah, you heard him saying that's not true, and then he just hangs up. Like, I don't get it. Maybe he's just saying, "Hey, I'm done. I'm tired of it." But it's interesting. It really is interesting. And right now at this point, Cuomo is a part of the establishment that does not want to see a person like Zohran Mamdani, who is a socialist Democrat. A lot of folks are not too crazy about socialists, especially those that are big on money, right? I've said, time and time again, I have some capitalism views at some points, right? Hey, I'm a business owner. I'm fiscally conservative. I'm socially liberal. In this case, I am not against seeing Zohran Mamdani being, hey, let's put him as the almost as a trial and error kind of thing. Let's do a free trial with him as mayor. Let's see him being, somewhat of one of the key stars in the Democratic Party. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how that, how that if that benefits. If it doesn't, hey, we'll move on. But if it does, this might be the new direction. Because you got to see, my thing is, most all the people, they like Zohran Mamdani. He's a popular individual. He's relatable to some sorts, to some folks. Why isn't that? You got guys like Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries. For the longest, I don't think he really per se has endorsed Zohran Mamdani, but it's like your own folks in New York can't stand behind you. Doesn't make any sense, y'all. Doesn't make any sense. But again, what's y'all take on Chris Cuomo? Do you think his political career is over? I do. I really do. But again, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. The way the election will turn out, I could be wrong. But I think personally that he is that ship has sailed. I think he should have been more on the lines of, hey, I want to endorse Zohran, but as a former governor, I want to give him some pointers in a sense. That would have been, reasonable, right? But everybody got to come out with that dub. Everybody got to come out victorious. Let's go ahead and let's see here. We're gonna stay in the world of let's transition over to some entertainment, and then we'll go back to some politics. So as I mentioned earlier, Juwanna Mann, the hit 2002 film, starred Miguel Nunez as Juwanna Mann, right? The film was hilarious still to this day. And I think it was so interesting. It was great timing that reporters caught up with actor comedian Miguel Nunez Jr. because Juwanna Mann, it's multiple things I can think of. So first thing I can think of is we see the rise of the WNBA, Women's National Basketball Association. We see the rise of professional women's basketball. We see the successes bringing, right? You got two powerhouse figures, like, well, I wouldn't say two because there's multiple powerhouse, but you see Angel Reese, huge star. You have Caitlin Clark, big star. You have Asia Wilson, huge star. You have so many popular folks that have entered into the NBA already, coming in with large platforms. Like, I would say this, the growth, where the NBA flipped to huge numbers and success was when Caitlin Clark and and Angel Reese got drafted. Why? Because they were already sitting on like 1 million plus followers on social media, and they got drafted with those numbers. When the average, I would say the average popular sports figure, they might average, I don't know, 80 to like 120K. Maybe that's where I'll put them at. But no, they were in the millions, and Asia has built this empire where, I mean, she makes more money outside of the league than she does in the WNBA, and that's what the WNBA players are really trying to put an end to, is fair pay. But saying all that, you have the growth of the WNBA, then you also have, on the political side of things, you have the right continue to push that, hey, look, the left wants boys and women's sports. And in a sense, the Democratic Party, they never really have an answer for it, because that's kind of their kryptonite. And I'm not trying to be offensive to anybody that are members of the LGBTQ community. What I'm explaining here is, strategy wise, the right knows that is a question that Democrats never give off a clear answer to, and that has really lost a lot of Democratic candidates or either elected officials, because it's a topic that most folks, bipartisan wise, see eye to eye on, right? Most folks see eye to eye that it's unfair. It's an unfair advantage for a biological male that might transition to a female to compete in a biological female league. They look at that as offensive. They look at that as a huge advantage. I mean, prime example, was it Leah Thomas? I believe that was her name. The swimmer, the collegiate swimmer. Not a lot of people was happy about that. NCAA received major backlash. Literally, the girl that competed against Leah Thomas was Riley Gaines, who grew a conservative career now as a political talker, and she has her own show. She's an advocate now for women's sports. She built a huge career, but she opened it more on the conservative side. So now you have all this stuff coming to place. But now let me go ahead and play the soundbite of the reporter that ran into the actor Miguel Nunez, star of Juwanna Mann, talking about, hey, possible second one's in the work.
You should go to Juwanna Mann, bro.
A lot of people are, but I'm not doing that. I'm getting ready for part 2.
Part 2?
Yeah, we're doing a part 2 this year with Lionsgate.
Oh, wow, I didn't even know that. Am I supposed to know that?
No, you do now.
Wow, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I didn't think, like, in this day and age, that sort of stuff, Juwanna Mann would fly, but I'm glad.
It's better now than it was then. It was before its time.
It was.
Yes, it was.
But now it's kind of edgy, isn't it, to do that sort of, which you think is good.
I think it's great. That's the whole thing. Time, in the beginning, it wasn't so prevalent, female basketball players and all of that stuff, but now it's a better time for it.
So can you tell me anything else about the movie? Have you started shooting it yet?
Oh, no. We're still setting up the script and all of that. It's not even close. Probably won't be till the middle of next year.
Who else is going to be part of it?
Vivica, Tommy Davidson, a few of the same cast. It's going to be fire, bro.
Oh, that's amazing. Any sort of cameos?
Oh, yeah, everybody.
Everybody?
I hope Andrew Reese, Richard Clark, Steph Curry, he was in the first one. He was in the first one anyway.
Oh, Angel Reese would be fire in it.
Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, you'd like Caitlin Clark in that?
I love her. I love Andrew Reese.
How would Jamal go against Caitlin Clark?
I'll be that.
Hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. I think that would be pretty exciting, seeing seeing a part two. There's so many great films, honestly, that I'm a person where every film deserves a sequel, but they don't need to continue on to like, oh, this is part 4, part 5, part 6, like what's the movies I always I can I they don't get me wrong, they're entertaining, but I can't stand the fact that they were so lengthy. Fast and Furious, they made like damn near 12 or 11. I honestly I lost count. But Juwanna Mann, a film that was in the early 2000s, talking about doing a sequel. I think that's pretty dope. It's a long time coming. I think there should be a certain time span on, okay, after every 5 years, let it pass. Okay, now it's time for part 2. Because there were like you had films that will have a such 2 you know every year. Like, okay, this year you're gonna have part 1, next year you're gonna have part 2, and so on and so on. Something that's interesting here, I didn't know this. Joanna, man, really, it didn't succeed money wise, but it is a cult classic. The reason why I say that is because I'm looking at their budget. Their budget when they were doing this film was $15 million. Box office was $13.8 million. Okay, $13.8 million. You had soundtrack features from Diana Ross, James Brown, Mystical, Genuine, Little Kim, Stevie Wonder. Okay, you had Little Kim in acting in the film, which I've never seen Little Kim in a lot of acting films anyway. Genuine had a pretty big role in this, but I mean, it is a interesting, very hilarious and entertaining film that if you have not seen it yet, please do so. This film is the funniest, okay? The funniest. Look, we're gonna do one more story before we head to a commercial break. We're gonna transition over, y'all, to sports. All right, so Jake Paul. Y'all know I ain't crazy about Jake Paul. I'm not crazy about Jake Paul at all. I think, he is. I'm not mad at his hustle. I'm not mad at his success. What I am is a bit disappointed the fact that he's in this conversation as being a premier boxer, a rising star in the world of boxing. Maybe a star in the sport of boxing because he has advocated and gave more money, I believe, to female boxers, right? Putting on, high paying fights. Um, he has probably brought in a new audience to watch boxing, but I just can't say that this man is a premier fighter in the sport of boxing. I can't. Look, he's in great shape. He you see him train all this stuff, but he don't be fighting nobody. Okay? He doesn't fight anybody. He was literally on tap to fight Gervonta Davis. Now, Gervonta Davis is a popular boxer. He is I believe he's undefeated. He is, let me see here. What is his weight class? Oh, it's gonna come to me. Give me a second as I look up Gervonta's weight class, because I know he's got to be like 2 to 3 different weight classes under. There we go. So Gervonta is 100 and okay, so he's in a super featherweight, lightweight, and light featherweight. As I mentioned, undefeated. What is his weight? They're not giving me his weight. There's a huge size difference between the two. His weight is 133 pounds. 133 pounds. All right. Jake Paul has to be damn near 200 pounds. Gotta be. What is his weight? What is his weight, y'all? He is Looks like they have him at. They say his weight ranges from 185 to 227. So I'll just say at the minimum of 185. 185 fighting someone that's 133. Come on, y'all. Come on. Now, again, Gervonta's a dog now. Gervonta's top tier, one of the premier fighters. Now he's been having issues with the law, which I'm assuming that might hint why he was even signing up to fight Jake Paul, because one thing about a Jake Paul fight, you're going to get paid. Hence why he gets all these fighters we haven't seen in 20,000 years. All of a sudden they want to come out and either come out of retirement to box Jake Paul. I mean, look at Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson did not, y'all. He did not have to come out of retirement and fight this guy, and now you got your first L. Like, come on, man. Come on. Do better. Do better. But let me read you this. So the fight between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul, which was going to air on Netflix, has been canceled. It says here that Netflix and fight promoter Most Valuable Promotions announced recently that the fight had been canceled, rescheduled for November 14th, and it will no longer be moving forward. The event, which was to be held at Miami's Kaseya Center, had been set to live stream worldwide on Netflix. Now, MVP said it was still planning to stage a headline fight for Paul, the digital influencer turned pro boxer, sometime in 2025 on Netflix. Now, a year ago, Netflix streamed Paul's record-breaking fight against Mike Tyson, which was it really record-breaking? It might have been record-setting for viewership, because everybody was anticipating, like, oh, finally he fights a real fighter. Let us see Tyson, give him some jabs. Tyson never gets his jabs. No, neither. Man's like I said, 60 years old. Says here that the fight cancellation comes after Davis was sued in an alleged domestic incident. Here's what I'm saying. He gets in trouble with the law. In a civil lawsuit filed in Miami-Dade County, he was accused by ex-girlfriend of battery, aggravated battery, false imprisonment, kidnapping, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Woo. Says here that Davis's trainer told USA Today that the lawsuit against the boxer was nonsense, and said about Davis, he's doing great. Everything's good. That's why we're trying to find out what's going on. Davis had previously been accused in a domestic violence case by a different ex-girlfriend. The case was dropped. Davis is on probation after he pleaded guilty in 2020 hit-and-run car accident. I mean, this guy just can't stay out of trouble. He can't stay out of trouble. Let me go ahead and put a graphic just so y'all can put a face to it. You got Jake right here. You got Gervonta right there. Huge size difference, huge height difference. It's just, it doesn't make sense when you fighting guys that are literally 3 divisions lower than you. So, which means he's a teeny tiny guy. Now, this is not to disrespect Gervonta, because like I said, Gervonta is an undefeated cat. I think he has maybe 1 loss or 1 draw, but he is the truth. He is he's quite successful. He's quite the fighter as well. Jake Paul is a businessman. I'll just keep it like that. He is a businessman. All right, my friends. But yes, that's the news for you. That fight between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul has been canceled. So go ahead and bring y'all take back your bets. Take back your bets. I know who you are now. I know you are. All right, my friends. So we're gonna come back. We're gonna have take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll have some more here on the Arrington Gavin Show. Do not go anywhere.
Just like a winning team evolves throughout the season, so does your beard. I'm Arrington Gavin, proud CEO of Rugged Evolution Beard Care. With our premium oils, balms, and grooming tools, it's everything you need to level up your beard game. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a rookie, Rugged Evolution is the new smooth. Order now and dominate the beard game like never before. Rugged Evolution Beard Care, because every beard deserves to be legendary.
Jazera Learning Institute, LLC, is a hybrid learning center that strives to educate adults and children in all fields. During the day, we offer programs that are focused on developing students from pre-K to 12th grade, which includes tutoring, homeschool co-op, an after-school program, SAT, ACT prep, and many more engaging academic programs. Our adult education programs include workforce trainings, GED prep, life coaching, various seminars, and many more. Our vision is to train and educate in a positive way that will lead to a positive change in the world, one person at a time. For more information, visit us online at JazarinLearningInstitute.com or call us at 757-208-7407.
All right, my friends, welcome back. Welcome back to the Arrington Gavin show. So, look, this was the latest news happening in the state of Maryland. Governor of Maryland, Wes Moore recently signed an executive order to fund SNAP for his constituents in the state of Maryland, adding to other states like Virginia, DC. So basically the full DMV. This reported by the Washington Post says here that Maryland to fill federal funding gap for SNAP joining Virginia and DC. Governor Wes Moore administration announced recently that it will use a reserved fund to help keep food stamp benefits available to 680,000 residents. Governor Wes Moore recently had announced that the state will pay for a portion of the federal food stamp benefits not covered by the federal government, a reversal in position after the Trump administration agreed to, in the wake of a federal court order, to release half of the program's federal funds for the month. Now, after weeks of saying Maryland could not afford to fill the gap in funding during the federal government shutdown, Moore's administration said it will use the state's fiscally responsibility fund to allow about 680,000 residents in the state who rely on the SNAP program, Supply Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP for short, to continue receiving food assistance. Now, SNAP costs about $123 million a month. A month. Good gracious. Whoo, that is a lot of money. Moore also issued an executive order that authorized $62 million to be spent on SNAP benefits in the month of November. Recently, Moore directed $10 million from the same fund to be allocated to food banks across the state to help support Marylanders experiencing gaps or delays in their SNAP benefits. I'll read you a quote here from the governor. He said, "One of the first and most basic priorities of governing is to ensure that families do not go hungry. We will continue to do everything in our power to protect our people in these difficult times." Now, his decision to fund SNAP brings Maryland to the line with DC and Maryland, again, DMV, and allows appeals from Democrats and Republicans in the state who argue that the resources are available to keep the program afloat and that there is moral obligation to get food assistance to those in need. Now, the food stamp benefits were in limbo over recently as funding that had been allocated to last through the first month of the shutdown, which ran out. The shutdown, as I mentioned earlier, y'all, is exceeding. As of right now, it's still going on. The sad thing is you have government workers who probably were the breadwinners. Now they're trying to find ways to pay their mortgage or their rent. They're trying to find ways, okay, how are we going to make ends meet in this case? How am I going to pay for my kids' college tuition? Like, it's so disgusting that this exists in our world. But hey, once again, I always tell y'all, elections have consequences, and that's why you have got to realize y'all have the power. Y'all have the power to vote folks out. I said it before and I'll say it again. I was recently, my wife and I, we had the opportunity to attend an event for a former Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger, who was running for governor in the state of Virginia. She had Barack Obama, who endorsed her, also speak at his function. Barack Obama, you probably heard of him, Barack Obama. Yeah, that guy. He had said this. He said, "Do not boo, because boo doesn't have power. They want you to boo. They want to hear you boo, but they don't want you to vote. The vote, that's where all the power is at. The voting power." I'll give another, I'll give another thing here, another story. So I had the opportunity, which I'll share photos with you all soon, probably on the next show. I had the opportunity to attend a live taping of Roland Martin Unfiltered, hosted by veteran journalists, host, TV host, radio host Roland Martin. Now, Roland Martin is, in my opinion, one of the prominent voices in in political commentary, especially when it comes to how this relates to the black community. Well, how does it come? How does it relate to the culture? And Roland always, he doesn't hold his tongue, but he also, uh, in the words of Joe Madison, put it where the goats can get it, or where the goats can hear it. Excuse me, put it where the goats can hear it. And so it's interesting. It's extremely interesting when I interact with folks who are there's some folks that are hesitant when it comes to voting, but there's some folks that just do not care. They do not care. They just say, no, I'm not. And they think it's fine, right? And the people's perspective always changes when it hits them. When they get involved, then it's like, oh, now it's important. But when it doesn't affect them, then they're like, oh, keep them. But at the end of the day, for those that it affect, they might be unaware of what's going on in their local communities, and it might not be avid voters. Like I recently interviewed a former vet who voted for the very first time, and she was in her 30s. I don't get me quoting her actual age, but I was just like, wow. But she's not the only one. That's a common thing. Voting turnout is important. Okay, voting turnout is important. Folks feel as though, why waste my time? Why waste my gas? Why waste my air? Why waste my breath on trying to, I guess, trying to get involved, right? Trying to get involved with politics, just by, attending meetings and all this other stuff. Because one thing I can't stand politicians that you see them in your face during election time, but then they ghost you just on day one of when they're in office. But I'm kind of getting a little sidetracked here. But the reason, again, election has consequences. If it was the other way around, I wouldn't be reading you a story of, states now taking money out of their basically security funds, their fiscal funds, to pay for their constituents to eat, to have food on the table. Now, the DMV is, most of their residents are government workers, federal workers. Here in my home turf of Chesapeake, Virginia, Hampton Roads area, we have a lot of military bases and government workers, and look, people are hurting as well. People are hurting. Everything is just expensive, and it's unfair. It really is unfair. It says here 2 federal judges recently ordered the Trump administration to use money from a $5.5 billion contingency fund to keep SNAP partially funded through November, but the federal government did not initially act to distribute their funds. It says here that the Trump administration announced that it would use the contingency fund to pay for about half of its benefits. Now, Delegate Ben Barnes out of Prince George County in Maryland says, I think this is a proud moment for our governor and our state. Barnes, who chairs the House Appropriation Committee and spoke adamantly recently in favor of the fully funding SNAP benefits through the holiday season if shutdown continues. Which is fair. Another quote Barnes has said of the governor, I'm really happy he's leading with his values, as I know he always does. Look, y'all know I'm a huge fan of Governor Wes Moore. All right. He, to me, is definitely presidential future, possibly, or presidential ready. Maybe, he will work in the White House. Mark my words, he will get a position in the White House, not under this administration, but he will be in the White House. I don't know what position. A lot of folks were saying, "Oh, I would love to see him run for office and run president." Look here. He's currently running for re-election, or he has mentioned that he will be running for re-election in Maryland. I have family in Maryland. They're huge fans of Wes Moore. He brings you what I shouldn't be worried, living here in Maryland. I should be proud living in Maryland. He keeps his constituents up to speed on everything, and he's trying to bring peace. He does a lot of I've seen some of his social media videos with him interacting with conservative and Republicans on the opposing, elected officials from the state of Maryland. I think that's important. I think it's important to keep those relationships going and let people know that, hey, look, in order for us to succeed, we all have to stick together. We all have to come as one. We can't win or succeed by just one side of ideas. That's not going to happen. You have to come together. And this funding issue happening is really bringing a lot of members together, a lot of people bipartisan together. And here's another thing with this funding cuts. Really, there's a lot of conservative folks who are Team Trump all day, every day. They're getting hit too. Okay, Bama, red. Okay, Kentucky. The list goes on and on. Texas, you name it. It's getting worse and worse and worse. But hey, at the end of the day, I don't know what's going to eventually happen. It's interesting how we have a government shutdown. We have folks hungry, but yet we have an administration that's, I don't know, having parties and, breaking down buildings to make it look like they're country clubs back in Florida. Like, it's weird. And look, you had presidents in the past create, I think Reagan put a bowling alley in. Obama did basketball courts. They never turned down took down a full building. But y'all, as always, that's weeknights available on all digital streaming platforms. Y'all take care. God bless. Be sure to stay involved and never let go of the gas on keeping your elected officials accountable. I'm out.
That's it for tonight on the Arrington Gavin Show. Thanks for tapping in and keeping the conversation alive. Don't forget, stay connected with us on all platforms. Follow at Arrington Gavin on Instagram, Blue Sky, and X, and subscribe to the official Substack for exclusive takes and deep dives you won't get anywhere else. We're here every weeknight, same time, same energy, same real talk. Until next time, stay bold, stay sharp, and stay true. That's what we do on the Arrington Gavin Show. Peace.